What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for August 19th, 2024. 324 is finally in open PTU, and they're making some serious changes. We learned what CIG means by social locations, and I couldn't be happier about something I heard on Star Citizen Live this week. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share some of my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike, and you guys continue to pop over from the YouTube channel and say hi, and I appreciate it. But before we get into that, let me share with you today's sponsor. Thank you to Boot.dev for sponsoring today's video. This one's for all you armchair developers in the comments. You yourself can become a back-end web developer using Boot.dev's innovative and really smart lessons towards your goals. You will learn back-end web development programming languages like Python and Go, but what makes these lessons so different and cool, honestly, is they use modern game design to create a self-paced but captivating RPG game that will teach you to code. It's not just games, though. Their philosophy is to use the games to get you to write a ton of code because they believe that getting your hands dirty and actually shipping projects is the only way to learn. On top of that, they have an active Discord community that will help you if you are stuck, but even help you prepare for your technical interviews that may be coming up. Now, Boot.dev never wants their students to feel like they aren't getting value, so they offer a 30-day no questions asked refund policy, as well as a free demo of every course and its interactive features. So click the link in the description and use code SaltEMike to get 25% off your first payment for Boot.dev. That's 25% off your first month or year, depending on the subscription that you choose. And thanks as always for engaging with the sponsors. Guys, they let me hire editors and take this show, hopefully, and more things in the future to the next level, like guides and things like that. But we have quite a bit to chat about this week, so let's get to the patch notes. Well, we start out on Monday with a Wave 1 PTU. At this point, we're still in Wave 1, and there's no feature updates, just bug fixes, but a couple of annoying ones were squashed. After server recovery, hopefully, we're not taking damage anymore, and they have fixed, well, they kind of fixed the Aurora being busted. Tuesday, 324, still Wave 1, and they fixed a really bad one. If you did too well at cargo hauling, you would go into negative reputation, and you couldn't get cargo hauling missions anymore. They said they fixed larger inventory icons. At this time, they didn't for everybody. And then they said they fixed the insane sounds when you entered the hangar. They were still kind of bad. So they finally went Wave 2, and the main changes are increasing the hangar door speeds, and they finally did an audio pass on them as well. As far as bugs, they fixed some major issues with transit being stuck. The Hull C got a ton of attention this patch, but I checked it and confirmed it with many people in my chat and Discord that they all had the same experience. Some people had 1 to 3 containers added to the Hull C, then it froze. I had it freeze completely at the beginning. The C and the A also got a look with regards to tractoring boxes off of them. I would say this is not fixed, but I think it's very easy to recognize what the issue is here. It's definitely a physics thing and the server not knowing where the box is going, because if there's a box below it, it doesn't fall, but if there's no box below it, it falls below the surface. So I think they have some clues on how to deal with that. Then Thursday, Wave 2. So this build ended up failing, but during the open waves, this is the first time the game ended up being closed. So changes they intended were interesting, though. First off, they want to change handheld tractor beams. The multi-tool can no longer hold 32 SCU boxes, but the dedicated one can. I don't get this as much because there isn't a good alternative to them. If you are going to do this, you have to have good ship tractor beams, and they don't. Item Bank UI, they admit, was horrible for months after the community told them it was, right? Like, come on. From the ISC video, they were showing them, like, we've told them forever, and now they're going and reverting back to the old style. I don't really get it. And then we just saw throughout the last week, they're adjusting the payouts to cargo hauling missions. The starting mission went from 4K to 13 plus, around there, around 14K. So if we're moving, I guess we're moving in the right direction, right? This is a good thing. There's a lot of other updates to that because on Friday it went open PTU, but you saw all the footage just now from the Friday build because the Friday build worked and Thursday, it was all the same updates, essentially, right? They just did the Thursday build on Friday, and they opened it to everyone. Now, I gotta say, this feels like they're really pushing hard to get this out, so I expect it to go open at the latest by Friday this week. Live by Friday this week, and we'll have to see. That was the patches. They're definitely pushing. Let's move on to the Squadron 42 monthly report. As per usual, I do not cover the Squadron 42 exclusive changes here. We don't have a release date even yet, maybe at CitizenCon, but I just focus on what we, the people playing Star Citizen, may experience. We got AI and gameplay. Both AI and gameplay sections of the report cover EVA as a focus for the team, with the AI being able to use it. And, that's cool. So for gameplay, thruster back gameplay as well, I think we actually saw that in an ISC recently. Somebody pointed out to me, I still never saw it. And then how that ties into zero-G push and pull. So zero-G push and pull is getting some level of work. And yeah, that was basically supposed to come very soon after 3.23. Considering we're just getting 3.23.2 now, I guess the timing feels correct, even though nothing about timing feels correct this year. And control surfaces were mentioned as well again. We were told that this was not coming anytime soon. I still expect that to be the case, but it being worked on is still notable. For UI, this could be entirely Squadron 42 only, but alien UI intrigued me because I think we'll eventually interact with some aliens in the PU at some point, but the player visor was shown at CitizenCon, and we still don't have it yet. So safe to assume that this work will get into our hands sooner than later, given that they're working on it for Squadron. So we got both an Inside Star Citizen and a Star Citizen Live. So this is going to be the meat of today's show. Inside Star Citizen was titled Social Behavior, and I'm a little disappointed in myself the first time I watched this. I thought they spoke way too much about the location's art and not enough about what we do there, but they actually did speak quite a bit about it. So right off the bat, they shared us with an interesting change.
There are no central sources of power in the Pyro Star system. It's all decentralized, and each outpost has its own different identity and what it means for you as a player as you go to these different places. Should you be aligned with one faction, you can visit these locations. Should you align with another faction, you can go to these other locations instead.
So reputation is going to have to play a major role in 4.0. They are giving us kind of options based off of who we align with. The question I have, and I'll put this out to you, do you think we'll have to align with someone? Do you think we can kind of remain neutral and be cool with both locations or most locations? Personally, I hope we have to choose a side, and there will be advantages and disadvantages based on who we want to side with. I think that would be cool. Next, they tell us about the farms in Pyro.
There are going to be some goods that are only grown in Pyro because of its unique star system that can be shipped back to Stanton.
We have a whole bunch of new mission types that you'll be able to do there. Then they're more geared around repairing pieces of machinery. We have what we call charge drain technology coming over from Squadron, which enables you to transfer an electrical charge from one component to another. So you can jumpstart a generator, for example. There's scope for much more gathering type of missions, like going out into the field, collecting crops. There's a big focus on non-combat at a place like a farm.
There's so much to unpack here. The first one that sticks out to me is that there will be some goods that are only from Pyro that could be shipped back to Stanton. And the goods on the screen were ETAM, drugs. So maybe drugs aren't coming from the locations in Stanton anymore, and you got to bring them through the gate and sneak them through the gate, right? And then charge and drain gameplay looks like it might be fun, and I hope these are an introduction to more sandboxy things because they talked about them as missions, but I hope it's something that we do more of just because we want to, right? Then we hear about scrapyards.
The scrapyards are one of the few locations within the Pyro Star system where you can actually service your ship that is not on space stations or LEOs.
And we've got these large landing pits in all the scrapyards that are unique to the scrapyards, which are the big sort of sunken pits for repairing, rearming, refueling. They kind of bring that kind of unique, okay, this is a scrapyard because I know that there's a landing pit here, and they're the only types of outposts that have those.
So I gotta say it, that flickering hopefully better not be a bug on the HUD of the Buccaneer, and that it's just like they think it's a cool touch. If they do, I hate it. It's very distracting. But the scrapyards basically being gas stations on planets is pretty cool, I guess. I don't really have a lot more to add to these outside of what we hear about next from them is the gameplay side.
You've got to use your charge and drain tools to be able to repair pipes, repair canisters, any faults in machinery, etc.
The new mission type that we have is salvaging, but in first person. So you don't need to be in a ship. It will be something that you can do on foot. So salvaging all the various panels which have turned up at the scrapyards in order to process them. Another piece of non-combat gameplay at scrapyards might be repairing machinery. We have a system which uses the resource network and engages it in missions. So you will be able to, for example, if there's a broken piece of machinery, you will be able to find a working piece of machinery, rip components and fuses and parts out of that, apply it to the broken one, and make that run instead. But of course, you've broken the first machine by doing that.
So I love the missions here. I feel like I'll be spending a lot of my time doing these, but the highlights have to be the charge and drain repair missions. I like these because they should help teach players how to be and do it on your own as well, right? Again, just touching back on what we just said. And then we hear about trade posts.
The trade posts are where the player is going to be dealing with trade and commodity, organizing themselves between different groups in order to purchase different food, water, ship weapons, ship components, armor, grenades, med pens, whatever, you name it, it can be found and sold here.
They focus quite heavily on hauling, delivery, and shuttling goods around.
Trade posts are organized by several different factions within the Parastar system. At these different locations, you might find different inventory, different perks, different goods. So if you're aligned with Citizens for Prosperity, you might visit locations such as Jackson Swap on Pyro 2 or Conard View on Pyro 6.
So these I do hope become actual player HUDs where we trade between each other, but the cargo gameplay focused at these, kind of makes sense to me as well, and it feels like that's what they're going to be. But I gotta ask at this point, how do we feel about these, right? It really feels like they are doing locations right compared to what we had in Stanton for all this time, but also, what do we do on our own? So it's a weird one. But before we leave trade posts, we got to talk about the Headhunters one, because it's crazy.
Golden Riviera is one of those sleazy towns which is just full of seedy people, absolutely taken over by the Headhunters. They've butchered everything, they've changed how they want things to work. Trade posts are possibly selling slave pods, you can find other illegal goods, but it's just a central hub of sleaziness.
Don't judge them.
So this sounds like it's where the drugs are going to come out of, and we didn't see any of the new weapons in this video, I don't think. Point them out if I missed it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe some hardware thing change. Like they talked about hardware, that we would get different ship components at different locations. So who we align with, now we're getting a little bit more information about what advantages we might get from aligning with the Headhunters over Citizens of Prosperity, or whatever it's called. And then Star Citizen Live, question and answer contested zones. And we're going to keep this really short. You'll find out by the end of the video why. But I didn't spend that much time at this point in the week on Week in Review or Star Citizen at all. The first question was asked about what we do at asteroid bases.
I mean, asteroid bases are a bit like Bunkers 2.0, more or less like a development. It's in the sense of it's a more condensed space, but we try to segment them a bit more, like in different categories in this regard, like also encounter design, like encounter asteroid bases that we have. If you go to one of the encounter asteroid bases, you can find bodies, you can kill X amount of guys. That's more like for the mission ones, but they will always be populated, so you don't need a mission to go there. You can just go there and check it out yourself. But these are more like the playground for missions. But you can also find other ones that are inhabited, and you can just explore and do puzzles in them. At least that's the plan going ahead.
So this was kind of the theme of the show for me. It mostly sounds like more locations to do the same things we have been doing. So kind of disappointing. And then they explain how many contested zones there are.
Currently, we are planning for about 5 contested zones, and these are
in a few stations, all pretty evenly spread along the pyro system. Some of them being in very specific places that are only be able to be accessed once you progress to a specific stage, or once you have actually gained a couple items, you can get to that location and unlock the interior, basically. So contestant zones might not be immediately accessible to the player. There's some that will require you to complete others to then find the keys to others, basically, or to specific branches within these contested zones. So it's a mix and match a bit.
Now, I think this is actually surprising and quite cool that we will likely not have to access these initially, and we will have to earn access to them. But the answer was so vague and concealing that I think we probably just need to get these in testing, get playing around with them, and actually understand what they mean. They were very nervous on the show. Jared was spending a lot of time trying to, coax stuff out of them, so it just was unfortunate that it was a little bit of a vague answer. They also mentioned us having to go to more than one to fully complete the kind of experience. So again, I do find it weird to have to jump to another station to complete things. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. If you watch this on my channel for any amount of time, you know how important this next one is to me.
So for us, what is really important when it comes to the reward stuff is that things are actually substantial and unique. What we put in there has to not be widely available, right? So, and that's the thing that we want to really balance out with the rest of the universe to make it worthwhile, and to balance it also out between the contested zones themselves. First, our first step is to make things unavailable, like widely unavailable, something that you just can't not get from the shops in Stanton or in Pyro. It has to be something that is only be retrievable right here. And what we're looking at right now, after talking with system design about it and other people, is that ship components are one of the big steps like that. Like military, stealth class, or even competition class ship components will be made exclusive in some capacity, certain parts of it, and only be widely available, or
certain variants of them.
Yeah, exclusively available in reward rooms or in the final. Let's call it the grand prize.
Yeah. I'm going to stop you there. That's plenty. Okay. We don't want to share everything, but yes.
Now, I wish Jared didn't stop him, along with probably the rest of you, I'm sure, but this is everything I have been fighting for. Items you can only get by playing, but not just cosmetics, real, tangible items that don't require you to buy something on a website. Now, I'm trying to remain calm about these because I feel like they will find a way to mess it up. And until they don't, I will always have my doubts about them, right? But there is no denying they understand what has been missing from their game for so long. They're expressing that. Now, quick hits from the show. There'll be an exfiltration sites, multiple ways of getting out of the contested zones that are not having to run back the way you came, and I think that that's great. They will be adding Stanton stuff, not just Pyro stuff in 4.0, and they'll talk about it in a few weeks on Inside Star Citizen, and they want Resource Network involved in asteroid bases and contested zones, but it sounds like probably not at release. That was video updates. Let's go on to other updates. Starting out with a sneak peek, another ship sneak peek. This one looks very MISC. Not sure what MISC ships we think are coming. Hopefully it'll be cool. Let me know if I'm missing anything, but don't leave any leaks kind of stuff down below, because people might not want to know. I don't personally. I think the last time I asked for this, they were like, it's a leaked ship, and I'm like, oh no. Yeah, so don't do that, but if there is a MISC ship that we do know about that I'm just not thinking about, let me know. You could feel free to say it's a leaked ship. So if somebody wants to go out and look for those, then yeah, that's on them, and that's fine. The lore post is just another one of those articles from Jump Point Magazine on the Cutlass Red. If you're interested, the link will be in the description. I wasn't. Ship Showdown is a free fly that's going on with these 16 ships on the list here, and they do a little competition between all 16, and we get to vote which ones are our favorite. Usually the top 4 get a skin, with the winner getting something extra, and then CitizenCon tickets reopened I'm not sure why they were closed and why they're reopening. I didn't see any details on that. And they gave more information about like hotel discounts and bar citizens and that kind of stuff. Now, this is the end of the show, and my stomach just started turning because you may not know her. She doesn't show up on the show much. Towards the end of her life, I had to kind of keep the door closed and keep her out of here because she was deaf and she would yell and scream for my attention while I was recording these. So I would take like 15 minutes, keep her out of here, which this is her favorite place. But Lola passed away, and I've been in all of my content, everywhere I've been making content. You'll probably see these coming up in like more recent React videos that are coming out is thank you. We had to put Lola down, but I did this video 8 months ago, letting you know that she had cancer. And because of you, specifically because of Week in Review, that grew everything that I was doing. And my streams got better. I got the sponsors on the show. Check out boot.dev if you guys haven't yet. And that gave me the freedom to be here for her. And to be here her entire 8 months of ups and downs, and mostly ups. And I can't thank you guys enough for that. And I know everybody has pretty much felt what I'm feeling now. It's horrible. And everyone's telling me it'll get better. But at the moment, I don't think it will. I don't even know how I'm holding it together right now. But she's gone. And because of you, I got to be there the whole time, and I just want to thank you guys for that. So thank you. Hit the like button, subscribe, all the stuff that doesn't matter. Star Citizen doesn't matter at this point right now. This was very hard to do, and I apologize to Editor Biggs. We're getting everything to him really late because I just had to work up the mental strength to be able to do this. So thank you again. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next week, and I'm sure it'll get better throughout the week.